Hi, I'm Coach John Witt, and I'm all about helping you make the right moves for your business. In this Better Business Results video, I'm going to share a coaching principle called 3 Types of Buyers. Now, my guest is Gerek Allen. Gerek is the owner of 621 Enterprises, but he's better known as the Amazon guy. And Gerek's business is smack dab in the middle of the Amazon River. Not the river in South America, but the one that's based in Seattle and delivers more products to more doorsteps than anyone else in the world. Now, Gerek readily admits that right now, he is essentially a one-man band. And the challenge for Gerek, and for everyone in the solopreneur world, is that when he stops working, the revenue stops too. In addition, the idea of building or creating a business asset that has value and can be sold is a classic entrepreneurial dream, a dream that Gerek ultimately shares. And in the 3 types of buyers principle, we identify the buyer types that are in the marketplace looking to acquire businesses. After I share the principle, Gerek and I will discuss what he needs to do to move his business from solopreneur to entrepreneurial asset. Now pay attention to the shift in timelines that Gerek starts with and his final action items. So get out a piece of paper and something to write with, take notes, pause the video if you need to. Identify your next steps and see if you can find the big aha light bulb moments for Gerek. I'll be back at the end of the video with action items for you to take advantage of this information. All right, so we talked a little bit when we had a chance to talk before we got on the show here about your business, because you're kind of a one-man band right now. You've got a team,
yes,
but they're outsourced.
Yep.
And but for organizing and putting all that stuff together, it's just you right now. And if you were to stop, then what would happen to the business?
It will stop to a certain degree.
It would stop. A large degree.
A large degree, yeah.
A large degree of it would stop. And so the idea of creating an exit strategy or a plan that would allow you to exit out of this business would make some sense. So I thought I'd share this thing. It's called exit or succession. One way or the other, how do you move out, right? And so in this case here, there are 3 different concepts. There's a strategic concept. And in this particular case, this is where you're going to get, maybe better than fair market value for your business, because you're going to find the strategic buyer that really can benefit from your products and services. It usually takes about 18 to 36 months to kind of pull this thing together. And it has sort of 0 to lots of seller involvement. But you know what? It's your choice if you want to be in there. So in this particular case, you've built a system and a model, and you're able to exit out, and you can choose to stay on and help, or you can choose to exit. At 0, you get your choice, right, which is kind of neat. All right, so then we take a look at the entrepreneurial business. And the entrepreneurial business, here you're going to get fair market value, right? Maybe not fair market value plus, but still going to get a decent deal, right? Takes a little bit less time, 6 to 18 months. And so there are entrepreneurs out there that are looking to buy businesses. So if you demonstrate that you have a business that can produce revenue, and repeatable cash flow, then they're going to be interested. And again, you kind of got this 0 to lots of seller involvement, and it really depends on you, your choice. Right? So the last one we talk about over here is the opportunistic buyer. Now the opportunistic buyer is that person that's kind of just hanging out, waiting to snap up the good deal. And it happens because the business owner hasn't gotten around to building a plan and allowing them to exit. And something happens to them. They get sick, family gets sick, they got to move. Any number of different things happen. And now they have to sell the business.
Right.
But it's not positioned to sell the business. And the opportunistic buyer is going to be able to get it probably for less than fair market value at that particular point. Now, it might not take very long, because often the business owner is in a fire sale mode. Like, they don't have 3 years to figure out how to sell this thing. It's got to happen, like, right now. And unfortunately, it comes with, if you're lucky, 0, but it really comes with a lot of seller enslavement, right? Where you have to go with the business, because if you don't go with the business doesn't make any money, and the opportunistic buyer is really not interested in having a business that doesn't make any money. So, we share this story with everybody, and you ask yourself, where do you want to go with this thing? And so strategic is your A+, right? You're going to get your best value there, and you've got sort of a B+ with the entrepreneurial. Neither one of those is bad, right?
Right.
They're both okay. I mean, there's not the end of the world there. The one's a little better than the other. But the last one, it doesn't drop off. There's no C level here, right?
Yeah.
There's no D. It goes right down to F.
Yeah.
Because it just, if you're in that position, it just really, really hurts. So at this point here, you're sort of in this opportunistic space. You've already started to diversify a little bit, but clearly there are people that could be interested in your business model from a strategic standpoint.
Right.
So Gerek's business is currently positioned for the opportunistic buyer. The opportunistic buyer offers the least amount of money for your business. Let's listen to Gerek's thoughts on his plan to move out of the opportunistic buyer phase. If you were going to pick which one you wanted to pick, and you could pick either one of them, right? What's the first thing you would need to do to get out of the opportunistic model and get prepared for the entrepreneurial?
It's very simple. It's to replace myself for somebody who's going to oversee that business. So take myself out of it, where this person who's overseeing the day-to-day operations and the team members involved. Almost kind of like being a conductor in a chessboard. Mm-hmm. They're just moving the pieces and so on and so forth. Then I can take myself out of it and have that as an asset and an income stream, so then I can focus on creating more income streams.
We could do something else, or again, if something dumb happened, you wouldn't have to do anything else.
Correct.
So Gerek's identified a need for a replication resource, somebody to do what he does. That's his first step in the process. So how long do you think that's going to take? What's the time frame? What would it be for you? So what's the time frame on that?
Within 12 months.
12 months.
I'm already working on that process as we speak.
Okay. How are you going to find this guy or girl?
Yeah.
Could be either or.
You know what? Most likely through relationships.
Okay. Do you have anything that looks like a job description model of all the things that this person, you need them to do? I mean, right now, a lot of this is in your head.
Yes.
Right? You know how to do it. That's
yes.
easy. But, to get somebody else to do it and do it well, you're going to have to get it out of your head.
Yeah, it's a great question.
So now we're going to talk about defining the resource and the tasks that the resource needs to accomplish. Now, sometimes this is a little easier, sometimes it's a little harder, but if you're the general manager and you're looking for somebody to replace you, you need to give this the right amount of time.
I know the person that I don't want is the one who subscribes to the traditional educational model of 4 years of school, 40 hours a week for 40 years and stuff like that. It's got to be somebody who thinks differently, an entrepreneurial type thinker, somebody who thinks outside the box, somebody who embraces technology and working from home and outsourcing and stuff like that. Not the traditional old corporate look and feel of things. I know that might not be a very popular opinion to some people.
It's okay. I think the world is changing.
Yeah.
It's changing. I think you'll find a lot more millennials that are more amenable to that
yes.
idea and concept and strategy than in the past, than some of the Gen X.
Yes.
So now we talk about attitude and risk. And some people are a lot more comfortable with risk than others. Risk scenarios play a very big role in your decision-making process.
Yeah.
So your business, because of this buy and sell and the need to be able to do it, you have to have a certain comfort level with risk.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't have somebody that just is afraid.
Correct.
And there are people out there that don't like change, that don't like differences, and this is a pretty moving and grooving and fast action type business.
And it's a cash flow business too. My primary business is the cash flow, because we have to put out all the cash ahead of time before we even sell anything. So, it ties up our cash. So there's a lot of risk, because what happens if you put all the cash out and it doesn't turn over?
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. And
yeah.
So you're talking about bringing somebody in that can handle that kind of stuff. They've got to be able to handle that type of activity, that type of risk.
Yep.
For some people, that's really way too stressful.
Yeah.
And for other people, it's fine. They're comfortable in that space. Now, have you looked into any of, and I'll ask this question because not everybody in your space does, have you ever looked into any of the hiring or behavioral assessments?
Oh, yeah.
To allow you to help? Yeah, so what have you looked at? So behavioral assessments, they're also called psychometrics. And really what they do is they measure how a person prefers to do the job, how they prefer to do that work, what their attitude is, what that behavior is. We can reverse engineer that so that we understand what the job needs, what would best be fitting for the job, and then we can hire appropriately.
I forget the name of it. There's a couple of behavioral tests that
Okay.
I will be submitting people to just so I can get their,
Do you know what you're looking for out of those tests? Because they reverse engineer those tests. Right?
Correct.
So you say, as the job, it looks like this, and it'll tell you this is the type of person that we need. All right, here's the big deal. Here's the concern. It's finding the right person. That's a hard thing to do. It's not easy. Nobody will do it the same way that you do it. Rarely will you find somebody that has the same energy and the same passion and the same desire that you do. And finding that right person is challenging. You've got to know exactly what it is that you're looking for. You need to know the attitudes and the behaviors, and you need to give yourself some time to be able to find that particular person.
I want to say there's elements of narcissism that will be in this person, because that can be kind of a good thing or a bad thing depending on how you look at it. But then somebody who's got to be an absolute self-starter and somebody who, can critically think on their own without having to be told what to do.
But has good relationship skills.
All that.
Yeah. So you're going to have to take all that stuff out of your head and get it onto a piece of paper.
Absolutely.
So when is that going to happen?
It's in process. Yeah. No, I have a 12-month plan that everything is being outsourced as much as possible on the logistical side and some of the, just the moving parts. So then I can now focus on bringing the people in to replace me.
Okay. So what are you concerned about the most with this plan? All right. And here, Gerek shares the other ultimate concern that anybody that's hiring has. And sort of, what if they leave me high and dry? I hire them, I teach them, I train them, and they decide to leave. And what Gerek's ideas here are is he's going to create a system and a model that's better where he's at than it could ever be somewhere else. And that's really the key. Daniel Pink's story is really important here.
Obviously, hiring the wrong person.
Finding the right person.
Yeah.
So interviewing, and again, relationships can be a big piece of it. And a lot of people rely specifically on relationships to support their hiring activity.
Yeah.
There are other roles, other processes. You can go to LinkedIn. You can do, and I don't know if there are other people that are out there working for somebody else that would be interested in having this. Maybe this would be a step up opportunity, a promotion for somebody else.
Yes.
They're working at a lower level position instead of coming into this spot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's more difficult, but more advantageous long term to go find talent versus people who are looking for opportunities.
Sometimes it's tough. Today's job environment is challenging because most people, unemployment's as low as it's been in a long time, and my clients are, they can't find people. There aren't people sitting around waiting to get a job.
Right.
They're all working for somebody else. That means they're busy 8 hours or 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
And you have to do some extra work to reach out to them, and then you have to create an opportunity that's better than the one that they're in.
Yep.
And generally fairly good, fairly significantly different for them to consider taking a jump, because anytime you change jobs or change positions, there's a little bit of risk.
And I think it goes back to kind of core beliefs and vision, because I have certain beliefs that I believe in that I think not only the company should go, but also, based on my own personal life as well, and they're all congruent to a certain degree. And you got to find somebody who kind of models that as well, because if you're going this way, the person's going the other way, it's just not going to work.
So when are you going to start looking to hire somebody? You're starting to get everything.
Yeah,
on a piece of paper.
I would say probably realistically, it'll be like 6 to 8 months from now is when actually I'll be ready to start actually hiring somebody. Because the infrastructure is the first part that's getting shored up right now.
Okay. And then you've got relationships, so you can start to tell them, kind of what that is.
And I'm always on the lookout. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think you always have to be on, but you have to be able to tell that story, right? Where we just went through and you kind of outlined a lot of the type of person that you want, attitude, behavior, risk, et cetera, et cetera. You got to be able to effectively tell that story with everybody. If you haven't put the time and the energy into it, it's not easy to get it right.
And one of the concerns that I know other people have had is that, well, if I find somebody who's like me, what's going to stop them from actually just going out and doing it on their own and, leaving me high and dry?
Right.
And that's where it really comes down to solidifying a solid vision and really being on the same page, but also making it such a great environment and culture to be part of that they don't want to do anything else.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. So in my business here, I intend to expand my coaching practice. But they could all buy their own franchise and start their own coaching practice.
Yeah.
My role here is to create opportunity and teaching and lots of things to them they're not going to get somewhere else, so they want to stay here.
Yep.
And so how do you do that? What do you have any thoughts about that? What that's going to look like?
Yeah. Pay is one thing, but it's not the most important thing, in my opinion. It's really how valued they are, how much they contribute, and how much their recognition of their contributions, grow the company.
Yeah, so there's three things. Daniel Pink writes about this in To Sell is Human, but there are three things that go into a decision making. Now, when you're young in your career, money's more important. Food, clothing, and shelter. Got to get that stuff covered. But once that's covered, then it becomes less important.
Yeah.
And more money doesn't necessarily give you more stuff. So then the other two things that Daniel talks about, he talks about the ability to learn and grow. So creating a learning and growing environment, and then the ability to make a difference. Now, again, understanding what their contribution is to you, so that's that they can make a difference to that particular business. But also, it might be make a difference in the world, right? What can they do? Because I love working with people where they can grow their business to the point where maybe they have more money than they need,
Yes.
and then they can make a difference, right? So then they can help people that are in less fortunate circumstances, and that's how you leave a legacy. And just that opportunity exists, and I think with business owners and entrepreneurs, we have that opportunity a lot more so than a lot of others. And so people that want to go that way and that want to make that difference, and because frankly, we live in Orange County, it's a pretty nice space.
Yeah.
And there's 7 billion people in this world, and most of them aren't here.
Yeah, funny as you're saying that, kind of like a little side note or side plug. One of the best conferences I've ever been to. I know the guy personally who runs. His name is Cole Hatter, but his conference is called Thrive, Make Money Matter. So it's not just enough to actually make money and thrive in life, but how do you make your money matter so it actually matters to the world?
Right. So somebody that has that same philosophy, somebody that has that, it needs to be in your organization.
Absolutely.
So 3 action items, 3 things that you're going to do since we talked here. We've just talked about a bunch of different things. What do you want to do?
Get everything on paper first.
Get it on paper.
Get it on paper.
Yeah.
You don't write it down; it doesn't exist.
Right.
Really start the process now of actually looking for the right candidates.
Right.
Start building relationships.
Right now.
It does it because it's not overnight. You're not going to find somebody one day and the next day that's good to go. It's going to develop over time.
Well, and if it happens early, do you think you'll figure out how to deal with it?
Oh yeah. If you're prepared for opportunity, you attack.
Right. Right. Okay.
Yeah. And third is just keep building my infrastructure and foundation quicker than I have.
Well, all of the other processes and people and teams,
Yeah.
and telephone numbers and systems and yada yada yada. That's all going to be, put in a position where you could teach somebody how to do that.
Yep.
So,
And that's a great thing about 2017. There's more technology and systems and infrastructure that you can outsource today than there ever has been before. It's so much easier as far as opportunity wise to be able to compete with the big boys when you're not, a $100 million company.
as long as you're willing to embrace.
Yeah.
Right? Because not everybody wants to do that. But if you're willing to embrace, and again, you're embracing change, you're embracing technology, you're learning and growing all the time, then I think, opportunities everywhere.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right, so now you've heard Gerek's thoughts on the steps he needs to take to move from a solopreneur to an entrepreneurial asset. Now here are some action items for you to consider. Number 1, you should take an honest stock of you and your business. What type of buyer are you currently positioned for, and what type of buyer do you want to be positioned for? Number 2, if you're going to hire somebody to run the general management business, develop a list of all the tasks and all the requirements. And number 3, get it on a piece of paper. Number 4, begin looking today. It's never too soon to start looking for talent. And number 5, think about your training program. Think about what it's going to take to get this person up to speed. The sooner you have this available, the sooner you can bring the resource in. If you'd like more information on the 3 types of buyers or how to build a transition plan from your current buyer state to your preferred buyer state, drop us a note or make a comment on this video in the forum. If you're not a member of the forum, then you should join us. Send us an email and we'll send you the information. So right now, I'd really love it if you would take a moment and scroll down and leave us a comment. Just let us know you were here. I work with business owners every day to make the right moves. When you make the right moves, winning gets a lot easier.